Good afternoon. Welcome to the Two Gents Podcast. I'm your host, Ron Spikes. I guess I'm out here by myself tonight, but that's okay. We're gonna continue moving. I guess everybody else had previous engagements, and I'm gonna continue moving and try to do the best I can with what I got. Tonight the show is about politics. Politics as usual. And I'm still trying to get everything to go live as I always do. I just got in here tonight myself, and I'm trying my best to get this thing going. Everything is coming together. I see that I'm on, I got my stuff up over there. I got to send an invite out to, golly, I can't believe it. Time flew so much today. When you're busy, you have a lot to do, and so I was just trying to do some stuff, and I was looking for my buddy. I was looking for my buddy out there, and I didn't see him. He hasn't came on yet. I'm still waiting on him. Trying to get situated here, really. All right, let's get into it. You know, as we do these podcasts out here, and we continue to move and groove, as some people say. We continue to move and groove, as some people say. It's a little bit different when you're doing this stuff by yourself, and especially from this area. I see A.F. Riggins on there. I'm gonna get him up real soon. As soon as he come on and get himself situated, I'm gonna get A.F. Riggins on here, and we're gonna go from there. We got a lot to cover tonight. I haven't seen Byron Glass come up, but as soon as A.F. Riggins cuts on this camera, I'm gonna invite him into the studio. Somebody else is texting me in the background telling me that they need an invite. I gave them an invite, but you know, it's one of those things. You just got to continue moving. While we waiting on A.F. Riggins to cut on this camera and do a few more issues and stuff like that in the background while I'm talking, while I got a little bit of time. I want to do a little bit of house cleaning. I'm trying to save some thunder for Byron when he comes in, because we was going to talk about that initially before we got into the show, and we still going to get into that also. But while we're waiting, and I always say this, I'm going to do my little bit of homework behind the scenes and check on it. You know, it's a rumor out there that Stacey Abrams received money, over $2 billion, and they make it seem like it went straight to her. And I did some research out there, and as I did my research, that's not the case. That's what. That's not the case. I did my research, and I want to bring this to the stage because I need you to see it for yourself. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. I need to add it to the stage. This is Stacey Abrams. They say she received $2 billion of taxpayer money. Now, if she received $2 billion of taxpayer money, she shouldn't have to work for the rest of her life. And it didn't go to Stacey Abrams. It actually went to an agency that she was funding, that she actually served as a senior advisor on. She didn't actually, and it was broken up into many different groups, but they took the total of it, and basically what they said was that Stacey Abrams got the money. You know, I'm a big Stacey Abrams fan, and even when I was going through that Elon Musk stuff the other day, I realized that I did say that I was going to cover it, find out if that was true or not. That was one particular thing that was true. They had a group, an independent group that investigated, and if you look at the screen, it says I got people texting me. Hold on. I got to add Pastor Riggins to the set. Your camera is not working, Pastor. If you can hear me, Pastor, your camera is not working. I got you added to the stage, but your camera is not on. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got you added to the stage,
okay.
but your
I'm
camera
gonna
is
go back out
not.
and try to make the camera work again.
Okay. All right. Got you.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, as I did my investigation, and there it is on the screen up there. If you look at it, if you look at the screen, It says that the Guided Star, a website that tracks public information for nonprofit organizations, notes that the Internal Revenue Service granted tax exempt status to Power Forward Communities. That's a group of nonprofit organizations that she was the senior head of, but it claims that Abrams was received $2 billion in government funding are false. Are false. And that's what, because I don't know how, and that's from the Dispatch. I want to put a picture back up there because that's from the Dispatch. I needed y'all to see that because it's important that you pay attention to what's being put out in the media, and you have to know the whole story. And sometimes you have to, as we always say here, you have to do your own investigation. And when you do your own investigation, sometimes you'll find out that everything that you hear in the media is not true. And if we can do it for the other side, if we can get out there and verify Elon Musk and all the rest of that, we can also do it for Stacey Abrams and one of our own. Here's another thing while we're doing some house cleaning. I want to make sure that I get this out here. This is Kristen Menifee. He's running for Sylvester Turner's OC. And the governor of Texas is delaying the election, not calling a special election, not giving anybody a chance to come in or not doing anything. He's just sitting on that. I'm not going to say he's not within his rights. He's within his rights just to sit on there. He can sit on there as long as he possibly can. And it's not in his favor to actually assign a special election at this time. But I need you to know that that Menifee is trying to force his hand. And that's what we need more Republicans to do. That's what we need more Democrats to do. Act. We're asking them to act. We're asking them to do things that's outside of the norm. Some people can't do it. Some people are not do it. Some people refuse to take action on any level. They just rather wait and see what happens and then respond, be retroactive. Sometimes you have to be proactive. And he's taking it in his own hands. He's actually a attorney for the Harris County District, and he's trying to replace Sylvester Turner. So he's trying to get them to run a special election, and they're not trying. It's like Governor Abbott is not trying to do it. There's one more thing I want to get out there, and I hope I can get my hosts in. I'm looking for them. I hope that everything is all right with them. I sent the link out earlier. I'm gonna try to send it again, but if they're not here, I'm gonna take care of myself. You have to keep moving. Life goes on. We're not paid to do this, and if you're getting paid and you're busy doing something else, and you're out there, ain't nothing I can say. We ask for volunteers. We take volunteers here. We take volunteers. And as I talk, I'm sitting here copying the link again, getting ready to resend it. And just asking y'all to please just bear with me. If it don't go, we're going to go right into the show in just a few minutes. It's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world that we need to be aware of. I mean, not just in the world, but in our immediate future. It's stuff that's going on that we can't control. We just cannot control it. We can try to do our best, but a lot of times we can't control it. So the only thing I try to do is make you aware of it. So we can all do something as people, so we can move forward. And that's the only thing that I can do. I got somebody calling me in the background. I apologize. I'm gonna try to put him on the air. Hold up. I'll put him on the air in just a minute. So as we continue to move, it's just one of those things. It's one of those nights that we just gotta try to piece together and go forward. Here's something that Whoopi Goldberg said earlier. I would like to present that to the stage while I'm doing cleanup tonight.
In Wisconsin, that could shift the balance of power. And last night, Senator Cory Booker hit the Senate floor at 7 p.m. for a marathon speech to rail against the current administration. And it is still going on as we speak. And here's a little bit, just so you know we're not kidding.
I rise with the intention of getting in some good trouble. I rise with the intention of disrupting the normal business of the United States Senate for as long as I am physically able. In just 71 days, the President of the United States has inflicted so much harm on Americans' safety, financial stability, the core foundations of our democracy, and even our aspirations as a people.
Wow. Cory Booker has been going on, I think it's since last night. He's making a fight. He's making a fight. I don't see too many Democrats out there making a fight or trying to make their policies and their procedures known. I just don't see it. I can see what people are doing individually, but I can't see what the party is doing as a whole. And I don't know if that's a way to change things or what, but it's I don't know if it's a way. Let me just clear that up. It's a way to show that you have a spine and a backbone to stand up for what's right. And it doesn't appear that we have the ability to do that. Sometimes we just got to continue marching on. And, you know, I'm going to say this. And I need to be extra clear when I say this, because sometimes you just try, when you're doing the stuff that you do, and I think I just lost my feed. So when you're trying to do the stuff that you do, sometimes it's hard when you do it by yourself. It seems like I'm losing my feed because I lost my picture on. And and when this stuff it's not easy. I don't want no sympathy, but I just want you to know it's not easy. And we have to try to put out the word and go for it. The show tonight was about politics. And are we asking too much of our politicians? And me and Glass had a discussion about that maybe yesterday or the day before. I'm not for sure. But we had a discussion about are we asking too much of our politicians? And it was centered around politicians going into office and their lifestyles and how they got started and how when in the initial beginning they set up this headquarters where they run their race out of. They trying to maintain a household. If they got a job, they're trying to maintain a job, and it seems like everything is so tight that they can barely make it, and they making all these events. It's pulling them in all kind of different directions. And in the initial beginning, I think that all politicians, and I say all of them have that fresh, that spirit of wanting to be involved, wanting to make a difference, and wanting to be somebody, or wanting to represent the community in which they come from. They all have this. I want to bring this back to my community. I want to. This is where I'm going. I need you to follow me. I need your votes and all the rest of that. But somehow, some way, they get to their assigned places, or you vote them in and they get elected and all the rest of that. And I noticed something. And it's an issue with a lot of them. And not just the new ones. I don't want to just peg the new ones and say that that's them. It's like that now. And when I say peg them, I want to say within the last, I'll say 10-year span. And it goes back further. But I don't want you to narrow out the people that's within the last 10-year span and think that it wasn't the norm before. Somehow when they go into office, and I say this on other podcasts that I've been on, in this one, that somehow when they go into office, they have this strong will. But if they get there, something happens to them. Something happens to them. And what happens to them is that they start to fit into a system. And when they start to fit into a system, their politics change. Their politics change. And when I say it changes, seems like for the worse. It changes for the worse. And when it changes, we're stuck. Golly, Pastor, I see you out there. I'm gonna bring you in anyway, because your camera is not connected. Pastor, can you hear me? I see Mr. Glass on there. I see Pastor A.F. Riggins. Let me see if I can get y'all on the stage. Add Pastor to the stage. There go Byron Glass. Byron Glass doing what he always do, working.
Hey, Mr. Spikes, I'm gonna tune in. I'm working right now, and I know I'm gonna have a lot of back noise, so I'm gonna be listening in. So just put me on mute.
All right, guy, I got you. Just wave your hand if you want to come in. Shine a light.
All right.
Pastor Riggins, I can see you. I covered a lot of stuff,
Yes, sir.
but let me cover this before Byron gets to. Go ahead, Pastor.
No, I just had to change devices because my camera wasn't working on my other device.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do this real quick because I don't want to steal this thunder away from Byron Glass before he get out of his car. I'm going to do this real quick. Hey, B, Byron Glass.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, tell us about those 4 amendments.
They all failed, brother.
They did what?
They all failed.
That is funny. You know why? Because on the screen, I got Louisiana voters reject constitutional amendments and championed by a Republican governor. I went out there and found that information. I thought I was going to be able to get you on, but I just want to hear you say it. They did what again?
They failed.
Yes, sir. No.
Hey, Mr. Spikes, I know I'm in the dark because I'm in this little small car, but look, I want to say this. I like to say that I would like to think that we played a role because I sent you the text message from the individuals who said that they didn't know anything about what was going on in the state of Louisiana, even though they had to vote, and had it not been for 2 gents and our co-hosts, they would have never known. So we played a role in getting the message out and the word out. So I want to say all the hosts and hosts.
I know. Hey, Byron, I'm glad that I was able to get you on. I was trying to save that little bit of thunder for you because I wanted you to announce it. And as you see, Louisiana rejected that Constitution. A.F. Riggins, you see they rejected it,
Yes,
huh?
sir. Yes, sir.
Pastor Riggins was singing, no. I can't sing it like him.
No. Yes, sir. Hey, tell you what. Well, you know what's sad about this, though? My mom called me to ask me who won the mayoral race in Vinton, Louisiana, where I grew up at. Now, when I was growing up, they said the population was around 5,000 people. They said the population was over 2,000 now. 2 Republican candidates ran, a female and a male. The female candidate won. Guess how many people voted?
How many?
Guess. 2,000 people live in the city. How many people voted? 2 stoplights.
1,500.
No, sir.
Come on, Pastor.
500 people voted.
Wow.
507 people voted.
Mm,
She won 274, like the 240 something.
mm. Wow.
Yeah. That's sad. Which means if I move home, been
You
there a
could run
couple of
for
years.
office.
Yes, sir. I can get 500 people out there to vote just for me. That's
Woo.
crazy because I mean nobody's involved. Nobody's getting anybody involved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on today. I mean, it's nothing that we can do, nothing that we can say. What about this one, Pastor? I haven't talked to you about it, but before we go into it, I want to get your comments on this too before we go into the show.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you can see it on the screen.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Christian Anderson.
Yeah,
And see,
he go ahead.
he's trying to delay the election. Why?
No, he's not trying to delay the election. Governor
No,
Abbott,
I know
yeah,
Abbott. Why Abbott is trying to delay it?
yeah, that's what I don't understand. I don't understand why Abbott's trying to delay it either. Other than
He's,
it's giving the
he's
Republicans
hoping
an advantage.
he's hoping he can find a Republican candidate, but you can't find a Republican candidate in that district. That's what he's hoping. The district is
Yes.
they gerrymandered stuff so much till we stuck with that district being predominant African American district, Democratic base.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't stop what you already gerrymandered.
Absolutely. And Pastor, did you hear the one about the mayor here in Houston? They're trying to recall him.
Based on what?
They're trying to recall him because they don't like the decisions that he's making, and it's not coming from us. It's coming
Yeah,
from the rich people over there in River Oaks that's biking to school, biking to work, and stuff like that. And he's
right.
taking up those biking paths and all the rest of that. And
Yeah.
I don't know how he's doing it because they say that Harris County put it down. Harris County paid for the project. Now he's coming back and taking it up, and those people they're up in arms about it.
Oh man. I tell you one thing, we got to be very careful. Trump's trying to get into martial law. I know you've probably seen that. There might be a show for next week. But he put out an executive order on the first day that sometime in April he needs to report back on his desk of whether the country needs to go into some type of insurrection mode. And then in June he will try to say that we need to have martial law so he can try to eliminate any powers that's against him. And this is quietly being done. Quietly being done. So then
I'm gonna save my thoughts for next week on that one.
yeah,
Cause
right. So you can do some research on it. Yes, sir.
yeah, cause yeah, I'm gonna save my thoughts for next week.
Yeah,
That
do
one.
some research on it.
That'll just be something we have to tackle next week. But
Yes, sir.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I mean, I'm sure he has plans to try to do what you're saying, but I just don't think that's his approach to it. Because if that's his approach to it, he's already lost that one. So
Yeah,
based on law, and law can change under the
right.
Trump administration.
Yeah. Well,
Amendments can change.
he's trying to
Articles. Go
he's
ahead.
trying to break the law.
Yeah, he can try. But here's another one, Pastor. I thought Glass was gonna be on because I always say this. We always like to go out and do our research, and I said something about it earlier, but I don't want you to miss it either. Before we go in our subject matter, they
Yeah,
say, yeah, they accused her of taking $2 billion from taxpayers' money, but come to find out that money wasn't taken. She was a senior representative of an organization, and they put out a private study on her and everything. But if you read that last sentence in that thing, it says committed 2024, but claims that Abrams personally received $2 billion in government funding are false.
yes,
And that was an independent agency that did that. I see
yeah.
Mr. Glass is back. So Glass, I see you back on. Oh, you got off real quick. He's trying to get on. I'm sure he's trying to acquire the place. But what does that say about how they try to attack an innocent person out there, Pastor?
Because what they're doing, they try to project it onto someone else. There's a lot of dirty money involved in Trump and MAGA and Elon Musk. Elon Musk supposed to paying people $1 million in the election for the Supreme Court justice in one of those states up there. Giving $1 million up on the table to a couple people. It's a lot of dirty thing going on, and they're trying to project it on other people.
Yeah. Yeah, and they I think they're good at projecting. I think they're good at blaming other people, but I think that sometimes if your own people don't stand up for you, you're gonna be left out there on the limb. I played something by Cory Booker earlier. He's doing something in the House, in the
No,
Senate.
in the Senate. He's been having
Yeah, name
ongoing what's the word you use?
filibuster.
Filibuster against, like, so the Senate can't do any work until somebody comes to the attention of trying to stop Trump.
Yeah,
That's his way of protesting, which is lawful.
yeah. I saw that earlier, but I haven't seen too many media outlets covering it. I see it a lot on the internet. I didn't hear. I was hoping that they say something about it on the local.
How many Democratic senators do we have?
I can research it and find out. Y'all got
Yeah,
me at a point where I'm not guessing no more. Y'all
I'm
done took me out on that.
So I think we have 48 or 47, 46. What I'm saying is, if 45 to 46, 48 Democratic senators decide they're going to filibuster 3 days at a time,
Mm-hmm.
we'll shut this thing down for what? How long? 3 times 45 is what? 3 times 45 is how much?
Pastor, you the teacher?
You do math. No, I don't do math. I'm a history teacher. Yeah, 3
I know you got
45,
90, and then you can take 45.
135 days. 135 days. We can sit up there and hold up a whole lot of work. 135 days.
Yeah, yeah.
And then start over again. 190 days is 3 months. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm with you.
135 days are close to almost 4.5 months.
Yeah.
So for next, we can do that 2 times in a row. That's 9 months. If 2 times in a row, 45 Democratic senators do 3 days of filibustering right behind each other. There'll be 9 months of shutting down everything. Of course, Trump might try to jump back and try to do some martial law because of that, but then the courts have to jump in. It's three parts of the government, and if everybody play their part, you can put Trump in his place. Courts go in and say, no, you can't do martial law; it's illegal. So the courts is a referee. The courts will be the referee between the House, between Congress and the executive, between the legislative and the executive. The judicial will be the referee. If they referee it right, and that means they say, no, you can't do martial law. You stuck at the behest of y'all can't do nothing till these senators decide to stop filibustering. Y'all got to cut a deal with them. And then Trump got to come in and cut deals with the Democrats to stop all the foolishness. We have the tools. We just don't use them. Cory Booker is one Democratic senator. We have 45 of them to get up there and do it twice in a row for 3 days at a time. We got the tools to make Trump act right.
Absolutely.
It's about money. It's about lobbies. It's about what's in our back pocket. It ain't really about really governing. That's the problem. That's why I say it's trouble on both sides.
Hey, Byron Glass, if you want to come in on that, take yourself off of mute and come on in. I couldn't get you off of mute from here. I saw you sticking your thumb up. You have to take yourself off of mute. We see you clearly. Okay, you can't talk. I got you. Yeah, Pastor. I saw Byron. He was pointing at the monitor like he was getting an opportunity to come in. Yeah. Something must have came up, but I agree with you. But here's the deal on, even if we're talking numbers, I didn't only seen 3 people in the Democratic Party that's trying to do something outside of the norm to try to get stuff handled, to try to say something or do something different. Cory Booker just happened to be one of them. Miss Crawford, Representative Crawford, and Representative Al Green, Senator Al Green, yeah, Congressman
Jasmine Crockett,
Miss Crockett, yeah. That's what I say. I say Mr. Crockett because I forgot that she was.
Yeah, that's what said Crawford. You
Oh, I'm
know, yeah,
sorry. Thank you for correcting me. I'd
yes,
rather get
sir.
corrected here. I'm glad Byron not on here because he would lay into me.
Yeah,
But thank you, Pastor. Thank you. Yeah, Crockett, Crockett,
yeah. Jasmine Crockett, yeah.
Jasmine Crockett. Okay, Miss Crockett, one of my heroes out there.
Yeah,
So anyway, Pastor,
she was sounding
huh?
long. She was sounding long before the election. She was sounding long, loud and clear. I've been on some teleconference call with her and thousands of pastors. Cause she go
Mm-hmm.
to Fred Hammond Church.
She go to who?
Fred Hammond Church, the pastor up in West uh, Friendship West in Dallas.
Okay.
Yes, man, that's very politically involved and spiritually rooted church, and she goes there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Pastor, I know we I wanted to do some cleanup before we got there. Don't even say it. I see that evil. I see that grin on your face right now. You just can't wait to get in. But anyway, I want to tell y'all something. The subject matter tonight was about politics, and this is where I would like to go while we're here. And Pastor, I'm gonna ask you because I asked Byron. Me and Byron had this same conversation, and he just can't wait to chop me up. I know. I see it, man. He reminds Pastor. He reminds me of my brother. My brother's the same way. You do
Yeah,
something wrong, they ain't gonna let you rest till they get their peace.
yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
the way.
they've been rolling for a hot minute.
Yeah. But anyway, it's about corruption in the government. And Pastor, you done heard me say this before. How is it that we elect people in office and they go into office and they have a great plan. They 100% behind their constituents and they know what they want to do. They saying the right things, and when they get there, things just don't start. That arithmetic that we was just talking about, things just don't start to add up after them.
Because they're bought. It's hard to get elected in our system. System is capitalism and democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Capitalism is stronger than democracy. Capitalism is the ideal that we have a free market, that we have that money is available to drive people's decisions, consumers' decisions. What we need to operate on is capitalism. So then, when somebody starts running, they're being bought by people, whether it's being bought by a good group or a bad group, people with good intentions, bad intentions, whether it's a small, minor involvement or major. They got people that got purse strings, and that's why you have all these laws about how to donate or contribute to campaigns. But even
Mm-hmm.
in those restraints involved, if I put into your campaign A.F. Riggins, you feel like you're beholden to me. And so
Mm-hmm.
the Democrats that didn't put into your campaign, all they did was maybe get $25, $5, and pull the vote for you. But I'd have put in about 50,000 or whatever, or 100, whatever the limit is that I could put in. Then that conglomerate of people, you beholden to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
and Pastor, I think we need to start researching those people because if you vote them into office, their second term when they come up for the election, we basically put them in there on their name recognition, and we
Yeah,
continue to do that as people. Hi D, how you doing? I see your comment. I hope you're doing well and listening to the show. But we continue to vote for that same person, but we never go back and do the research and see how they vote, when or which way how they voted. Did they vote in our interest? Because a lot of times you'll find that those politicians out there vote lock it. They vote one way. The party,
yeah.
if the party depends on what they're trying to accomplish. If the party say vote this way, they vote that way. So I sometimes I'm lost.
But what I'm trying to get to is this. Let me put it down where, let's say, I'm not saying that these people are doing it, but let me give an example. Well, I'm not going to use names like I was going to use like Walmart, Costco, and all that. I'm not going to say that. Grocery store, clothing store, hardware stores, all right? All three of those entities, along with maybe a food chain, a beverage chain, and an airport, all believe and think the same way, right?
Yes.
They put their money behind a certain cause. When they put their money behind a certain cause, they find how many people that will vote for that cause
Mm-hmm.
and support them either directly or indirectly financially. And that's how the people are voting. They're voting on where the money is. Well, you and I, as a citizen out here, we're just trying to make money to pay our bills, to stay above the water, to put back some savings, to have a good retirement. Those companies have money floating around used to make political decisions. And that's why they're voting lock, stock, and barrel, because you have 5 or 6 different companies that's all believing the same way, want the same
Mm-hmm.
outcome. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
That's what we don't see.
And so the thing that gets me is that they're able to control individuals by saying that they're not gonna put money into their coffers, and
Right.
and so if they're not gonna put money into their coffers, they basically have to vote if they want to continue to stay in Congress. Is what I'm saying, and
Right.
that's scary, because that doesn't mean that my representative is there for me. That means that your representative is there for their self at that
Right.
point.
Right.
But even if they get reelected, how do you know they're going? How would you know if they doing this in your interest, or the people that put them in the office interest? Because they come back and they show up in the neighborhood right before election time, 3 or 4 months before election time, or every time there's a time to get on, an opportunity to get on a local station, and their
Yeah.
face shows up there, and like I've been a part of whatever's going on, but we know for a fact that they haven't.
Yeah.
So, Pastor, if you could comment on that, I'm trying to send a link out to somebody. Um,
Yeah.
he wants to come on. I just haven't had the opportunity. If you could just do that for me for a minute,
Right.
I'm gonna send this link to him and
Right.
try to get him in on the air.
So you have somebody like AOC or Bernie Sanders, AOC in the House of Representatives, Bernie Sanders in the Senate, who may be independent minded, have great ideals, but when they don't get those companies behind them to support them, then they're the outliers. When they're
Yeah.
out there pushing for things that make common sense, but not enough money is being put behind it. So then we can't get nobody to join with them to vote to make those things come into play. And so really a lot of times the Congress or the Senate is just voting around the edges of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When you vote around the edges of stuff, then you leave a wide open gap for somebody like Trump and Elon Musk to come in and be radical and do things that are beyond the pale, because why? Nobody else stood up to make strong decisions, then we appear weak. And so then they're going to take it by hook or crook and say, hey, see you in court. They're going to say, see you in court, because we're not having enough people that's really to make strong decisions that's going to go outside of what these companies want to see. If enough of senators and congressmen decide to vote what is right, and then that's why boycott is very important. We as citizens say, okay, if y'all don't want to go along with our representatives saying, we're not going to buy from you. That's why it's very important when they start boycotting, like the DEI boycott. Well, you need to do more than just boycott about DEI. Boycott about a lot of stuff. If they're not going to buy into what we need, it's going to help the country, but they're going to take our dollars, we put back our dollars, and then they can't. We hold back our dollars, and their dollars, they put their dollars on the change behind what we want, not what they want. So it's got to be strategic. It has to be organized, and it has to be done over and over again until the message is out there. And we as consumers, we don't do that. We just say, hey, I want to buy something, and they got what I want. I like their price. I'm gonna go buy and get it, and forget about the politics. But then when we start hurting personally, then we get upset. Say, hey, listen, my country's not doing anything for me. My country's not doing anything for me. Why let Trump do this? Why let Elon Musk do this? Well, we're not involved in the process. so
Yep.
we get what they hand out to us.
Yep. And you know, that's what that's what we always say, that you're not involved in the process, because if it's almost like if you talking in a barbershop, like we had that podcast not too long ago. You're talking in a barbershop, but you're not voting, but you got an opinion of
Mm-hmm.
everything that's going on. But if somebody asks you the question at the end, hey man, I heard everything that you say. I agree with everything that you say that you're saying, but did you vote? And they come back and they say, no, I didn't have no choices. There's always choices out there. I hate when people do that, Pastor. I hate
Yeah.
when people even engage in that type of language, because then you wasted my time. Because when you had the opportunity to use your voice, you didn't exercise it. You didn't go forward with it. What you did was you copped out.
Mm-hmm.
And then copping out, you know?
Let me say this though. Voting happens once a year, maybe twice a year, depending on if you're doing local or national. But after they vote, what are you doing weekly? That's what I'm saying. What are we doing weekly? How are we spending our money? How are we spending our energy getting involved? How are we spending our using our intellect and using all our resources? See, voting is one thing, but then outside of the vote, what are we doing to make sure that what we're voting about is going to come into action?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm concerned about. The things we're doing right now, having this podcast, is part of that. But more people need to have more podcasts. More people need to have more action oriented. Watch this. A long time ago, I heard this. There are three types of people in the world:
Mm-hmm.
who make things happen, people who watch things happening, and people who wonder what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And 80% of the people wondering what's happening.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah.
50% of the people watching what's happening. 5% of the people making things happen. And that's why we have
Mm-hmm.
a problem.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Dale, are you out there, Dale? I don't know if you picked up or not. Okay. I got him still on the telephone, but yeah, Pastor, you're right. People want to watch, and very few people want to participate in what's going on. So we just sometimes we got to we got to call out the ones that want to participate, and let the ones that don't want to participate. But please, whatever you do, just take your time, and if you're not gonna vote,
Mm-hmm.
don't talk to me. Maybe you can talk to Pastor Riggins, and he can talk to you about voting next time. But if you're not gonna vote, you don't have no opinion with me on this election. You may have an opinion with me on the next election, because I'm just, when you start talking to me, I'm just kind of listen to you, and that's about it.
Yeah.
That's all I can do. So I just I want to let you know that I got people getting mad with me because I can't get them on the air, but it ain't nothing I can do. I put the information out.
How they trying to get on? They trying to get on through YouTube, through the link, or they trying to get on through the
No,
phone?
they're not trying to get on through the link. They can't get on through the link. They're trying to get on. They had called me earlier, but when I was doing that one man bandstand by myself, I couldn't get them in. So I'm trying to get them in now, and it doesn't seem like it's working, but that's okay. I'm gonna work with what we got, Pastor. We're gonna go with eventually Glass to get to where he's going, because he has something that he's doing. So, and like I say, nobody. I'm gonna repeat what Glass says all the time. Nobody here gets paid for what we're doing. This is
Yeah.
all volunteer, Pastor. I forgot to mail you your check last week.
Oh, I thought you
See,
could have sent it
see,
to the
see.
church for the capital investment fund. I wasn't gonna lock the doors.
Oh,
Or
you
you
want
just
to lock the door?
lock the door.
You saw that one too, huh?
Yeah, but I've been at those kind of conventions, and I've not agreed with how they done a lot of that stuff. And even Marvin Self said maybe his tone of voice was wrong. But what happens at a lot of those conventions, and this is why church becomes an issue to a lot of people. We don't spend a lot of money into the community,
Mm-hmm.
but we have a convention when it costs a lot of money at those hotels and ballrooms and stuff, right? So then you trying to raise a budget. So then you have people registered, might be $25 a person registered, right? By the time you get all the ballrooms, all the food, all the hotel accommodations, and the speakers, you might come up short about $20,000-$30,000 still. So then they tell the preacher on the stage, one of y'all gonna lift the offering tonight. And that's what happens. They try to lift an offering, they try to come up with how we're gonna get this offering. Well, there's 1,000 people in the room, 1,000 people watching. Everybody get $20, we get this $40,000. But that's not how you need to go about it a lot of times, because it comes off the wrong way. And then if you get somebody aggressive like him that says nobody moving, because parts of services you don't need to move. You don't need to move when the preacher is reading the text of scripture. You don't need to move during prayer time, and you don't need to move during altar call time unless you're coming to the altar. And some people don't want you moving out of the building when they're doing an offering because they're trying to watch and see, about, and you ever watch this movie First Sunday? When they try to rob the church. So some of that stuff is some of the security, some of the not security. But really, if you reaching out in the community and spending the money in the community where you at, people won't have such a backlash when you try to raise an offering for a convention. That makes sense? It wasn't his own church, but the way he went about it, left them out there, So when I do a capital investment fund, I only do offering in my church maybe 4 or 5 times a year on Fifth Sunday. I don't do none other Sundays. So when the tornado hit our church last year, I did an offering for investment in getting the church, and we did it debt free. But when I got up with $500, I said, I $500, what they want to do, y'all can just give. God bless us to raise $10,000 that Sunday. And then grant was given to us on the back end of after we already paid for it. But the problem of it is, if you try to make people give a certain denomination amount, that turns people off. If you have an attitude of, hey, you come here to give, you need to give, that turns people off. Giving is worship too. I can't make you pray. Why should I make you give? The Bible says God is a cheerful giver. I can't make you sing. You come to sing and worship on your own. Why should I make you give? So that's where the problem of it is, when they try to come up with a little glitz and little plan of how we're gonna reach this budget.
Yeah, so they might be running short.
Yeah.
Instead of somebody having to come out of their pocket to pay the rest of it, they decide to take another plan. But the wording, the way he did it, and the instructions that he gave from the pulpit, I don't think those instructions should ever come from a pulpit.
Man, I've seen some places, man, growing up, it's kind of a bit worse than that. Then we'd be a pastor, they'd have one of the deacons come down on the front. The ones who'll be working with the money, those who know what all the business is, and say, listen, tonight we need $100 from every pastor. Then they challenge the pastor. We need $100 from every pastor. I need $50 from every social pastor. I need everybody think you're a deacon and want to be somebody, give me 25. And see, I didn't like that either. But they trying to put the numbers together in their mind of what they have in the house to get it out of people's mind to take care of that budget. And that's not what the Bible say do.
Yeah, and I don't think you should. I don't think you should ever base your. I'm not gonna say that the lights don't need to be paid. I'm not gonna say that the building don't need to be repaired. Yeah. But I will say this: I don't think you should ever put that pressure on your congregation. Now, you do have members within your church that you can pull aside and say, "Hey, look, we're running a little short on this." But to hold the congregation, because you never know what somebody probably gave their last right then and there. Right. And they barely made it to where they was. And they're gonna barely make it home and they might have their last $5 of gas money to get home, hoping that God bless them on their way home with something. But you put them in a position where you want their all, and I don't think that's I just don't believe that's what God wants us to do. I don't think that's what God intended on us to go to that place of worship, to be put in a place where we have to come out of our pocket all the time. Right. I know if you come in, it's things that you have to do. I agree with that. But some of it, I totally disagree with.
What you do is if you can see that your convention gonna run into that kind of stuff, you cut back on that convention. Instead of having 10 speakers, you only have 5 speakers. You don't have to pay 5 people. You cut back on the convention. Instead of having the 5-star hotel, you go to a 3-star hotel. See that it's a planning involved in that too. But what you're trying to do is involved in it also. And like you said, if you give it your leaders and say, look, we're falling short. What can we do to meet the budget? Not to the general public. And that's where the problem comes in.
because then you're doing the same thing as the other people that are doing out there. And I didn't really want to get into this, but it's something that's out there in the media. And one thing about us, if it's brought up, we're gonna discuss it. We're
Yeah.
gonna even if we got a subject matter on, we're gonna discuss it because it's a topic that's out there, and we got a pastor that's right here. Been a pastor for years. Father was a pastor, brothers pastors, and they've been in all types of situations around the church. So why not take advantage of a person that's here and share his knowledge? And plus, he's a school teacher, so you know he's a well-rounded person. So I why not take advice from somebody that's been there?
Yeah. I'll bring one more thing and we'll leave it alone. What's really made it worse is that we have this thing called prosperity gospel where a lot of these pastors and preachers are preaching on faith giving, want people to give seed offering, want people to give money, and the pastors themselves come up with big compound houses, helicopters, expensive cars and all this, and the people in the church are still poor. And then something like this happens, people thinking Marvin Sapp was getting the money for himself. He wasn't getting it for us, but that's in that context. I watched it. I was one time pastoring, and I was during that time in my season of my life, I was sitting under another pastor for like a few months, and every time they had church, they raised two offerings. They had an offering before he preached, the deacon's couch offering, and then tell them how much it was, and then they start saying we need another offering. Because why? They want to try to take care of the pastor's needs, the church needs, the budget, everything. And that was, to me, that was a strain on the congregation. Never, ever, ever should we ever get people into a closed setting, a captive setting in church, and make it about money. Not ever. You can let them know we're going to have a capital investment fund offering. You can let them know we'll have a youth offering coming up. You can let them know weeks ahead of time, and we'll come and give as God has blessed you to give. When Moses did it, they had to tell people stop giving. When David raised the money for Solomon to build a temple before he died, they had to tell people stop giving. Because they knew the vision, they knew the heart of the man, and they knew the need. But when you have to put somebody in a box and make them give, after the fact, there's always a problem with it. And so Marvin Sapp is just an example of what's been going on. Here's when he was bad when it happened, but he got exposed. You know? And I don't like the fact they're dragging him because me as another pastor, I want nobody to drag me. But you know, so I just hate that it happened that way. It was a clip of him in the convention last year, July 2024. He went on Ricky Smiley and talked about it. He wrote on his page about it. But that's people also. Let me explain something else. People don't trust the church anymore. So anything they find from the church, it could be negative, anything could be controversial, anything could be a problem in the church. They're going to take it to the next level because they're holding us to a higher accountability. Now, you can look around and see what Trump doing, stealing millions and millions of dollars through charities and all kind of stuff. But Pastor said I'm trying to raise $40,000 for a convention, and his way he went about it wasn't the way they liked, and they dragged him. You know, I'm just putting in context there.
I knew, Pastor, you wouldn't be you if you didn't add Trump into it. I know you wouldn't be you.
You talking about the corruption? Did you say corruption?
Yeah, that's what the show is about. I mean, corruption. That's what it's about. Doesn't matter if it comes from the church or the White House. That's what it's about.
For the church house or the White House, for the church house or the White House, corruption is corruption.
Corruption is corruption. You can't disguise it. It's just like a lie being told. The truth outweighs a lie every time. So you're absolutely right. So as we move through this program, you listen to Two Gents podcast. My other compadre is not here. He's taking care of business, and like I said, speaking of money, we don't get no money for doing this. We volunteer to do this, and we got one goal in mind. If we can just reach one, we just stop that. We just stop this ship from sinking. Pastor, you know, with everything that's out there, and I want to try to shift back since we got on corruption again. Shift back to our show narrative.
Your mic has a type of noise in it every now and then.
Oh, it does. It's probably it was probably my cell phone. I put it on mute. Is it better?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for checking me. I with everything that's going on out there, Pastor, how can we do to try to change the way people go into politics? And D is telling me the same thing in the messages, so I'm having a lot of static in my mic.
Right. Every now and then. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I put this thing on over here. I'm gonna have to take it off. So anyway, when we try to change things in politics, especially people going into office, and some people, I think that they go in there just to find out how much money they can make. That's their objective to get in Congress. I mean, because if you think about it, even with this Elon Musk thing that's going on Dodge, I mean, how many politicians, if they put the light on those politicians, like they putting on other things that's within the government, how many politicians do you think would survive that?
Not many. Let me explain something. Being a politician is like being an athlete. Just tell an athlete, we're gonna pay you $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
For all the endorsements, all the advertisements, and all that's on his own.
Mm-hmm.
The politicians get paid about $200,000 to $400,000 a year, depending on. I used to know their actual salary.
170 in Congress.
170 current. How much in Senate?
I don't know. I really don't.
Something dollars. You can live off of that. But of course, cost of living in Washington D.C. may be a lot higher, but you can live off of it.
Mm-hmm.
But what they want to enrich themselves is through the lobbyists. That's what I'm saying. The money that's involved, the lobbyists give them money, and that's how they're gonna vote.
Mm-hmm.
You and I are not a lobby. I can't enrich the pockets of so many congressmen, but they can get them in block. Like I say, they get them in block, in a block. Like so many people vote the same way. Foundation. That's the foundation of a whole block of people that's doing whatever they want, which means roll back everything is DEI, roll back, make everything be religious, call it Christianity. Anglo-American male is first, everybody else is second, and third and fourth and fifth. The list go on and on. The whole project 2025. It's on paper by Heritage Foundation. It's financed. I don't want to start naming come to somebody come and sue me, but I don't know. But some of your big, I'm gonna just say this: some of your big chain stores, some of your big hardware stores, some of your big restaurants, national, all got money involved in the Heritage Foundation Project 2025. You say, well, why? Because pay attention. If the population of Anglo Americans are dwindling, they don't care who's hurting, as long as they get what's there. As long as they get what's there. And if it hurt a little bit to them, they already got a head start. They got old money, 4th generation, 6th generation deep, 8th generation deep. While you and I are starting off sometimes first generation, going to college, first generation, a lot of stuff. And so the little bit hurt, not hurting them, it just put a little pressure squeeze on them. While to us, it's like them cutting their finger when it's cutting off our whole hand. Maybe our own, you see. But the money is involved in it to make sure that they stay in power. And that's how I look at it.
I agree with you, Pastor. One of the things that I've noticed that's consistent throughout the whole lot of them is they go in office and they don't have any investments in anything. They're not invested into stocks. They're not invested into the stock market. They haven't had any type of portfolio put together. But once they get there, by the time it's over with, their investments are better than anybody else's out there because their return on their investment is amazing. The return on their investment is amazing, and they come out of there and I'm not saying it's insider trading. I'm not saying it's anything. I'm just saying that it's amazing how y'all become polished investors. It takes those guys years and years to get to the level that they're at. But y'all managed to do it within 3 to 4 years, or 4 to 6 years, or whatever period of time that you're in office. And then you have this stock, you have that stock, and somehow it doesn't make it. If it's losing money, you get in low. If it's gonna make money, you get in. If it's gonna make money, you in while it's low, and you sell them when it gets high, when it's time to go down. I'm trying to figure out how you know that information. When the average person ain't supposed to know it, but you know it. So you get in and get out of stock.
Logic.
Huh?
That's the money I'm talking about. It's not always just green cash.
Yeah.
See?
And it keeps giving and giving and giving. And then when somebody goes in, I'm going to use their name, Pastor. I know you don't like them, but somebody like Dodge goes in and investigates you. And we done voted on you in these offices based on name recognition, based on who you were. And then they expose you for who you really are. It ain't nothing that you can say.
Right.
You can't, in this day and age, you can't play the game like they did. I'm gonna have to use a name on this one, like they did in Nancy Pelosi days. She was in politics before they had computers, before they could get on the media, before they could just interview your neighbor, bring them on the air, sitting where Pastor Riggins at, and ask them what was your status before you went in. And your neighbor, most of your neighbors ain't got no problem telling you where you came from, telling all your business, because they didn't like you no way, because you left the neighborhood. So, Pastor, I know I said a lot, so I think it's right around the thing that you just got through saying.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know if Glass has a habit of texting you in the background. I had to cut my phone off to take away the static, so maybe he's texting you to ask a question.
No, I'll keep getting the deal that you sent out about what we're talking about. It keep coming back to me.
Oh, it does?
You're right for some reason, but I got it again. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how it keep coming back to you. I was trying to copy it out and send it out to somebody not too long ago. And
You're right.
Now I couldn't get it. So
Yeah.
Pastor, we're running tonight. We miss Byron Glass, we miss John tonight. We missed a lot of people. We were able to cover a vast amount of subjects tonight, and I think that we did our job. We put some information out there, and that was our goal, to get some information out there and question some of the things that was going on in politics. We may revisit this at another day when we have a full stage, but we're gonna revisit it then. But Pastor, is there anything else out there that you've seen this week that we should say anything else about?
I just think that next week, if we can, we're gonna start looking into this whole move by Trump about this martial law and insurrection act and all this stuff. Because the thing that we're not doing enough of is being proactive. People are always reactive. That we've been more proactive. Given that I don't know if the election was stolen or not, but we've been more proactive. We've been in a better position when November 5th came around. People was waiting for the shoe to fall, hoping that Trump don't get elected, and he did.
Hoping and praying.
We had a bunch of reactive. So now that he's there, we got to become proactive to get ahead of whatever he's trying to do. Even if we're just a voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare the way, like John the Baptist, like wild men out there. That we're not in the establishment, we're not in the mainstream media or nothing like that. But we got to be able to cry loud and don't spare, and say, listen, pay attention, wake up and stay woke. They don't want you to be woke. They want you to be sleeping. Because a strong man cannot take over the house unless he catch you off guard sleeping. The thief comes at night, you're sleeping. Wake up. Stay woke. And that's how we're gonna stay ahead of them. When they say they don't want us to be woke, they mean that. They want us to be sleeping. There's a reason why they want us not to be woke. Because they can't operate in evil. About Jesus says, men rather darkness than light, because their deeds are evil. Men rather darkness than light, because their deeds are evil. And so they want you to be sleeping. Wake up. That's what I got to say
Pastor, I'm
tonight.
gonna give it back to you for us to close, for you to close it out in just a minute. You know how we do it.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say it's a lot of stuff out there in the media. It's a lot of propaganda out there in the media. Make sure you do your research. Don't just listen to what other people say. Do your research. Find out. It's easy. At one time, it wasn't easy. If you have to get your kid or whatever to come in there and show you how to get your information from a computer or go to different media sources, just don't listen to one and think that's the gospel. Go out there and do your research. If you hear something, don't get excited. Don't run and spread the word. Just take a minute, take it in yourself. Go out there and type it into a computer and listen to a couple of different sources out there, and you'll get some correct information. It was almost like Stacey Abrams. I could have went crazy and said, man, they trying to jam up. They trying to do this. Well, they did do it, but they didn't succeed because it was an independent agency out there that re-verified that she didn't get the $2 million herself. And you can go out there and do the same thing and do your own research. Stacy, I'm still behind you. Pastor Riggins, it's that time.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm so glad you joined us tonight, the two gents and the mic. And in the absence of Baron Glass and John, JT, I think it's JT, right?
Yeah, John
John.
Turtle.
Yeah, we're still here, Mr. Ron Spikes and myself, and we're going to close in prayer. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to share tonight. Those who might be watching live or even, Lord God, the podcast be archived on YouTube and other social media, that we're out here trying to reach the people with the truth, with a message that's positive, and to make things happen. We want to impact our community, our city, and our world. So, help us to wake up and stay woke. Give us the tools, give us the wisdom, give us the understanding, the vision, and the provision to enact positive change for those in our community, in our cities, and our world. We leave this broadcast in this place, but not your presence. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Yeah, before we go, I want to say happy birthday to one of my coworkers' daughters that was out there. She had a birthday today. I just thought about it before we got off the air. I'm not gonna call her name. She know who she is. So I'm gonna leave that right there. Y'all have a good night. Thank God, thank God, thank God. Thank God. Good night, Pastor. Have a good one.
Good night, you too.